But first, a rash of gun crimes on the streets of Australia's cities has heightened concerns about a flourishing black market in illegal firearms. Authorities are disturbed at the proliferation of online sellers offering prohibited guns and estimate there are between 250,000 and 500,000 illicit weapons on the streets. So what does the firearms black market look like, and where are the guns coming from? A 7:30 investigation has identified traders in Australia who are offering Glock pistols, commonly used by police, which can be imported in parts to avoid detection. They're also spruiking plastic guns that can be made with a 3D printer and won't be picked up by a metal detector. Dylan Welch reports.
Call the police, call the police. Call the police on the phone, quick. Get the phone, call the police.
An armed hold-up on the streets of Sydney. Men in balaclavas with assault rifles rob an armoured van collecting from ATMs.
Yeah, just stay there.
A shot rings out. Panicked onlookers shout warnings.
Get ready, they're going to start firing.
This is the end result of Australia's burgeoning black market in guns.
It's absolutely a serious issue, and you will only have seen or look back to some of the gangland killings in Melbourne some years ago, and more recently a spate of increased drive-by shootings in Sydney and a couple of other of our capital cities. The manifestation of illegal firearms in a violent crime committed in the community makes it a serious issue.
We have Uzi self-loading pistols, which have recently been seized, have been converted to full automatic.
Inspector Wayne Hoffman runs the New South Wales Police Ballistic Examination Unit, the final resting place for thousands of black market guns. And you've even got a vanity object, you might describe.
Yeah, this is a Desert Eagle, Israeli Desert Eagle, or IMI, 44 Magnum, semi-automatic pistol, and it's gold-plated, and that was seized off a criminal.
Almost 10,000 illegal guns were reportedly seized last year around the country. In New South Wales, seizures have risen sixfold in 4 years.
Well, in 2010 we seized 59 short arms, the different types of pistols. Yeah. Last year we seized 302, and for the first 3 months of this year we've got 104 currently, which would suggest we're going to have, if that trend continues, we'll be seizing significantly more this year.
The customs-operated Sydney International Mail Gateway is one of the front lines in Australia's fight against illicit gun imports. Workers scan thousands of the highest-risk international airmail parcels, and on any given day find replica pistols, gun parts and other weapons.
When you talk to the Postal Service, they'll tell you that there's been an exponential rise in packages coming into Australia driven by the internet market. And I know the postal centre down the road from here handles something like 15 million packages a month coming through the system. So, the magnitude of the problem is quite significant.
It sounds like the script from a summer movie. Federal agents broke up an elaborate gun smuggling ring that sent weapons from Nashville halfway around the world.
This involved shipping guns in car engine blocks, and it was all started by organized criminal gangs in Australia.
It started when police in Australia, in the midst of a crackdown on increasing gun violence, raided this apartment building in New South Wales and found numerous guns.
On January 3 last year, Sydney man Mohammed Metleg was arrested and charged with the importation from the US of 20 Glock pistols in a Chevy engine block. Metleg and an accomplice are both in Australian jails, awaiting extradition to the US.
It's a case where we have a relatively small organised group that were able to exploit their knowledge in order to import a significant amount of handguns. I think it was 20 handguns from memory. And when you think about 20 handguns in the hands of 2 individuals, that's a significant issue for any policing agency and for the community generally.
Most of the imported guns seized come from the United States.
It has a significant gun market. The ease of gaining gun parts, and accessories from that market is relatively easy. And it does create a problem for us, in this age we have the internet and the dark net, for want of a better term. I'd say that it starts off with the soft stuff and moves into the heavy stuff.
One so-called darknet site, Agora, is one of the most popular. Dozens of guns from around the world, from handguns to military rifles, can be bought here. 730 found 2 Australian-based sellers of handguns on Agora. One was offering a pair of Glock pistols, the same gun used by Australian police.
I currently have 2 Glock 17 4th Gen. Both weapons have been used but probably fired less than 20 rounds each. I've been sending and receiving guns throughout Australia for years. I'm sure that when you receive the first item, you'll be back for more, as my service is above expected standards.
A second Australian gun seller offered a new plastic single-shot gun called the Liberator.
The gun is made entirely of strong ABS plastic, which means you can take this gun anywhere and it will not be detected. This also makes it extremely easy to dispose of. I'm giving you 3 barrels with each purchase. You can choose what you want, 9mm, 380, 45, 44 special. I don't supply ammo.
Made with a 3D printer, the Liberator achieved infamy last year when its US designer released its plans online. They were downloaded about 100,000 times before being removed. Police warned of its dangers.
Make no mistake about it, not only are these things undetectable, untraceable, cheap and easy to make, but they will kill.
Both sellers said they could provide the guns in separate packages and also stealthed, a term referring to obscuring a shipment by sending it in more than one package and misstating the contents. The use of X-ray and thermal technology at sites such as the Customs Mail Gateway in Sydney has pushed gun runners to increasingly rely on importing guns in parts.
If we are detecting whole firearms through those technologies and the application of intelligence, then the importers will find some other way to get around that. Now, at this point in time, we believe they're trying their luck through a disassembly and a importation through parts.
These gun parts, a trigger and a firing pin, were found on the day 730 visited the facility last week. And what does it mean to you if you get a handgun, a self-loading handgun, come in that has different serial numbers on it?
Well, it'll send up a red alarm for us straight away, and we'll pay particular more attention to the firearm because we know it's been made up of separate components from different firearms, and then we'll start to trace that back to the source of where it came from.
It was just such a discovery in 2012 of a Glock brand pistol with different serial numbers that led to one of Australia's biggest ever gun busts. The manager of a suburban Sydney post office was charged with 2 others over the alleged importation of about 200 Glock pistols in an operation dubbed Maxworthy. Authorities allege the guns were imported from Germany in pieces and assembled here. A dozen have been recovered, but more than 100 remain on the streets. Some of those Glocks have ended up in the hands of serious criminals, like the gang who held up this armoured van.
He's got an assault rifle.
Potentially, this is the tip of the iceberg. We've got to assume that if this criminal organisation can find loopholes that allow them to get 200 Glocks into the system, then there are other organisations that are working in the same process.
Dylan Welch with that report.